two, fight!
What's up YouTube, Spencer K here, and I am here with a remastered version of Nations 1.0. Now the footage you were seeing is something I actually found. I forgot I had this. It was uploaded forever, but it was crappy audio, and it wasn't very well edited. So I wanted to do a remastered version. I'm going to, of course, talk over it, whatever that's called, narration, a new narration, there we go. I'm gonna do a new one of that, but everything you see is in survival. This is Nations 1.0. Now, at the end, I'll show you a map with the world events, what happened and whatnot, because I like doing that. This is where I lived. I lived in the top right part of the map. My entire mushroom island I turned into a farm, and it was a good thing I had, because I always had wheat, I always had bread, I had a lot of cake. I think this is still my record for most cake per nation world. Yeah, I don't think I beat it ever, so that's pretty cool. I set a record for cake, and honestly, I think I got within the top 3,000 on leaderboards for farming on like all difficulties, just because of how much cake I was making. I needed the milk, the wheat, sugar, yeah, okay, blah blah blah. But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. This is the map of the world. Like I said in the end, I'll tell you who lived where. The thing about this world is there was only 7 people on it, but I count the 7 that were on this one as the original true people that started what we love today. But this world also had a lot of mistakes in it. You can see I had a little village here. I actually did something in this world I never did before, and that was I allowed citizens. And the weird thing about this is you can see all that brick. Now this is probably the biggest clay trade to date, really ever. I don't think I've ever surpassed that. But I'd build random people such as Ravens. Ravens was not a nation in this world, but he was a citizen for like a day. And he was a good citizen. He played a little bit sometimes, and he liked it. Money was a citizen in this one, and he was like my vice president. He was second in command. He actually helped me a lot. So since Ravens and Money played so well as citizens, I invited them to the next one. And I'll get back to that later in the video. But here I am at Kaiser's place now, and Kaiser lived just south of me in this little snow biome place. And he built a house on top of a mountain. That was really cool. I really like it. A lot happened between me and Kaiser. Not bad, just friendship-wise. What I mean by that is he started off as he lived right beneath me up there where the snow is on the continent right above. That's where he lived, but he decided to move to give us both some more space, and plus this was a taller mountain. There wasn't really mountains there. He wanted a mountain house, and so he built one. And he built this cool little thing up on a hill. Now there was a lot of issues for him, like falling off and stuff, but he had a view of everything. If someone wanted to come to him, he had the high ground, he had the advantage. And he also built a flag. You saw I had flags. I don't know if I go into his house, but just like every time we tour Kaiser's place, it is a mass of confusing caves. I don't know how he does it. He loves that stuff. It takes me hours just to figure out how to get out sometimes, and I tell him not to let me, because if he just keeps showing me, I'll never learn how to get out. So I try to find it myself so I don't make the same mistakes. I do adventure down there, maybe? Yeah, okay, it looks like it. But back to what I was saying, as in the top continent, Kaiser had the little snow biome. Mitchell was the left side of the continent, and I was the right side of the continent. We had 3 of the first 4 people on one continent, so Kaiser moved out, and I'll talk about what happened to Mitchell later. But Kaiser did actually move out of his place and decided to start this thing that he's always done as well, which is join me late in the game as a colony or citizen. He's done that every time. Kaiser, as you can see, these massive farms, biggest farmer in the world. Like those wheat farms I had did not compare to him. He had carrots, potatoes, wheat, sugarcane. He had everything. He could outproduce me times 3 plus the world. It was incredible what he could produce in these caves. And even though I had a ton of farms, I actually had another wheat farm closer to Kaiser, but I just couldn't compete with him. So props to Kaiser for massive farms. Here it looks like I am at Oregon's place. Am I? Yes, I am. Okay. Oregon lived in the swamp right beneath Kaiser, and this kind of started some more issues late in the game. It was really late in the game. It was last couple days, weeks that this was going on. But Oregon also tried to build a farm. Still couldn't compete with Kaiser. No one could compete with Kaiser. The clay trade I was talking about, Oregon was a big guy to trade me clay. Everyone was really a big person to trade me clay, and that got him a lot of food. I was kind of going through his chests, which I never do anymore when I showcase nations. But this is just because I'd never been here before because of stuff between him and Kaiser. I've never gone here. Duplication was allowed in this world, by the way. That's kind of been a rule since it was patched. That's why there's a random diamond block there and why I didn't steal it. But I think that ended Nations 3 duplication. 3.5 was the last duplicate. I don't know. I forgot when the last duplication was, but this was one of the last. Now I'm over at Vinyl's place, and I'll show what everyone has exactly late in the game. I didn't save the game, even though I don't have this world anymore. I miss it. But this is Vinyl's second house after Vinyl's first house got griefed in a massive grief war between him and Dash, which I'll go over in the end. And this was a nice house. No one could find a secret chest, which I don't blame him because he got griefed badly. But Vinyl was my #1 producer in clay besides myself. Now there's like a secret clay war going on between me and him because I like getting clay for myself. And that's why in the end photo you'll see why I tried to patrol so much of the ocean, because I wanted that. This is Vinyl's old house. But Vinyl just wouldn't let me get too close to his swamp. He wanted all the clay to his swamp, and he got it, and I was like, I respect that. I got a whole ocean. But it was kind of like me and him were Russia and the U.S. going after something in the same place, I guess. It was, I wanted clay, and he wanted to sell me it. He didn't want me to get it for free, so that's what that was. And over here is Coolguy's place. Oh, I don't even need a transition. Coolguy's place, I believe, was a treehouse or a bunch of tree houses connected. And it was right to the left of me, like somewhere up there. Yep, there it is. And really cool, I guess, the treehouse idea. I'm not a fan of treehouses in Nations. Celts tried to do it in Nations 5. Worked out for him, but he just never got to a world power stage. So I don't know if it would have worked out if he did. I don't think I went up there because I fell off a few times and I'm scared of it. No, not really. But right over here is Dash's place. So you can see how close they are all packed together on this side of the world as well as the other side of the world. I'm actually going to transition Dash's. Yeah, I just didn't want to cross the little desert. But everyone was so close to each other, and that's why a lot of events happened. This is Dash's place. He also got hit bad during the Vinyl Dash griefing wars, but he definitely recovered and recovered well. He lost almost all of these farms. I don't think he ever regained his livestock from the griefing wars, but he had a lot of dirt between really him and everyone at some point in time, which is funny because Nations 1, I didn't realize until now, foreshadowed all the events that would happen in future Nations, between Dash being the most invaded nation, he's constantly at war. Nations 1 foreshadowed that. Other stuff is Kaiser always lives in a mountain, always builds these wicked caves that gets lost. I always am right top 3 world power, and I'm always doing something. I'm usually the one that builds the largest amount of, or most buildings and largest amount of structures and stuff like that. I'm also usually the one that somehow controls trade. If I don't want to trade, no one wants to trade. If I want to trade, everyone seems to trade. It's really cool. So this was just a foreshadow of all that. I'm here at Mitchell's place. Mitchell actually joined me as a colony. I'll get to that at the end of the photo. End of the video, I mean. And I'll go over that. But he didn't do much. He joined in the beginning and didn't really come back on. But we're back here at my place. And I can't think of what I was going to say. It had something to do with clay probably, but who knows. Okay, so what I was going to say is after the killer epidemic in Nations 3.5, this world and killer epidemic really showed why we don't want random people as nations. Nation 6.0 also just proved my point why I don't want random people as nations. Money, Ravens, and some other people that joined this world proved to me that they were good nations and they would play fairly and they'd play how we like and they wouldn't be complete douchebags. The killer joined, and not that he's a complete douchebag, he's actually kind of cool once you get to know him. He joined and he's like, I'm going to kind of be Adolf Hitler. And he started by threatening me and pretty much every other nation. And we were already kind of in a little event where we're like, oh, Cold War maybe? And then he joined and then everyone's all like pointing guns at each other, figuratively. But yeah, so that's why we don't let random people. And Nation 6.0 lasted less than a week. So that's proof why I don't like doing it with new people without experience or randoms. That's why I don't like a lot of friends joining nations unless they join the friend's nation. Like if I have a friend join, he has to join me or someone else he's friends with in the game that's a nation. He can't just go off and make his own because then dumb stuff happens. But you can see all my farms as I jump around. I have sugarcane all the way around me. I have wheat all in my island. I had farms way down to the right. Yeah, you can't see him on the other side. It's in the snow biome. But I had farms everywhere, and it could not compete with Kaiser. He was just too good of a farmer. But other than that, I'll see you in the picture. Alrighty guys, I'm back with the picture of world events, and sorry at this point in time I didn't realize I'd be doing all this fancy stuff, drawing outlines and stuff, so I didn't get the picture of the map without my inventory in the way. It's not taking up too much, nothing happened down where it's blocking. But off to the right you can see the colors. Hopefully I got everyone's name right, but I was white, Mitchell was dark gray, Dash was red, Coolguy was purple, Vinyl was black, Oregon was yellow, and Kaiser was green. Now, in the beginning, Kaiser did live at the southern tip of my white little area where you see the green, brown, and snow biome. He did live there, but he moved down to the green because it had taller mountains and it was just a bigger snow biome. And he let me claim that because it was already me, him, and Mitchell, and I think the only one in the game at the time was Dash. So all four of us were right there, which we didn't like. So he moved out, me and Mitchell kind of expanded a little bit more, and that's how that worked out. Soon we tried to get this other guy named Dennis to join. He just didn't want to because he had a lot of beef with Kaiser, a little with me, and some with Oregon too, I think, at the time. And I think everyone else at the time, just because Kaiser was talking bad stuff about him, I think everyone else disliked him as well without even knowing him. So he decided not to join. But let's go ahead and start off with how events started in the world. Now, this was the first time I met Dash. I think Dash was one of Kaiser's friends, and Kaiser introduced me to Dash. And Dash liked the idea of the world, and I let him join, and he actually ended up working out. Now, this is all of our first time, so I can't say, no, you haven't been a nation before, and so I couldn't do that. So I let him in, and it started off rough, and I wasn't sure if I liked him or not in the beginning, because everyone voted me as world power. We did this thing, we all voted who we want to control world trade, keep world peace, decide who can go to war or not. We all decided we wanted someone to do that. I was host, and I was friends with everyone in the game, so kind of by default, I got it. But we did this system where everyone had a chance, even if but I still ended up winning by a landslide. I think second place was like Vinyl or Kaiser. I don't remember, but it was by a landslide. And so I came out with this thing of a code system for trade during wars. I was like, alright, green flag means everyone can trade with each other. Yellow flag means I restrict trade between if someone's being rogue or if two people are fighting. A yellow flag, and they can't trade with each other, and some people can't trade with them. And then red flag was like stop all trade, and black flag means there's a war going on, so you better just be like defending your borders. So I created the flag system. Dash completely disagreed with the flag system. He actually threatened me and said if I ever put it in place that he would invade me. And I was like, oh, that's a threat, so you just caused a yellow flag by saying that. And he got mad, talked some more crap, and I was like, alright, fine, red flag, I don't care, you can't touch me. And Vinyl was getting upset at Dash because Dash was really, by saying more stuff, just making it worse. So Vinyl went over there and invaded and killed Dash and took a lot of his stuff. And just because we were like, that's not really fair, because he's brand new to the server, newer than Vinyl was, I was like, just give him his stuff back and we'll start over. I'll drop it back to green flag, Dash don't talk crap, whatever. And that worked. But Dash wanted revenge for the sneak attack type thing he disagreed with. So Dash went down and griefed Vinyl when Vinyl was offline, and that started the whole Dash and Vinyl griefing wars. They'd only get each other when they were offline and stupid stuff like that. And then after one person griefed one, everyone else would be like, return the stuff, and they would. So all they were really doing is wasting time destroying stuff that they'd have to return. But it eventually got too far, and Vinyl's house got completely annihilated. It was a joint operation by almost everyone because everyone was like looking to get stuff. By this point in time, I was world power by far, but like Vinyl, Kaiser, Oregon, Dash, Coolguy, they were all kind of in the same neighborhood for being second, third, and fourth. So they wanted to get one hand up on each other, and I don't blame them. I actually went over to Vinyl. I bought a lot of goods they stole from him, which I look back on as a dick move. But I mean, it happens. And yeah. So later on in the game, Vinyl, I almost invaded Vinyl. I actually tried to, which we created the no leaving in the middle of a fight rule, because that's one, a wuss thing to do, and two, that's not fair. Basically, I think it was his older brother came on and started talking crap about me, even though it was Kaiser or Dash that was talking crap to him. So like Kaiser and Dash were like talking crap about Vinyl, and so Vinyl's brother gets on the mic and starts talking crap to me, which I had nothing to do with it. So I got upset and I was like, alright, fine, I don't know, let's go. And that's how that happened. But that eventually settled, and later in the game we had to reorganize the entire world power situation. Vinyl wasn't happy how I was handling it, but everyone else kind of was. No one really was, but there's nothing I can do because the system was stupid. There's nothing I could have done if I wanted to. All I could really do is kill everybody and have them start over. That's the only way to fix the problem, which I didn't want to do, so I didn't. There's other ways, but no one would do it. Not even me, to be honest. So, but that settled. In the future, this thing happened. I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. That really almost ended the world. Oregon and Kaiser were just not getting along, so Oregon built this little subway tunnel, a good 100 or 2 blocks into Kaiser's land. And I eventually found that on accident because Kaiser wanted me to go mining, and I dug into it. The chances, really, right? It was either I was mining clay or I was mining for his land. I don't remember. I think I was making one of the farms bigger because they were about that level. And I dug into it, and I followed it, and I popped up in Oregon's place. I was like, this is weird. And I showed Kaiser. Kaiser got mad, and Kaiser claimed the 2 islands out in the ocean to the left of him, the 2 little green things in the water, and he claimed twice as much land as he originally owned. If you cut what's on the map right now in half, that's what he owned before the railroad was found, and then after he found the railroad, he's like, and put the border right up next to Oregon's. They had a good couple 100 blocks between them before then, but then Kaiser just decided to end that and didn't want any neutral zone and got rid of it. Oregon was mad because Oregon was also thinking about claiming that land, and that started them fighting. Now, at that same time, the whole Dash and Vinyl thing escalated to a climax. Vinyl's just recovering from the big grief that the whole world did against him, and he's looking for revenge. Now, the thing is, Oregon and Dash had been trading a lot because it was the first time they met too, and they started off working together pretty well in the beginning, and they did. So they were trading back and forth across the ocean that way. Same time, Vinyl and Kaiser were trading across the ocean to each other. So it was like an X trade intersecting with each other, and it didn't help. Like, Vinyl would get a ton of food from Kaiser, and Vinyl would send something back to Kaiser. I don't remember what it was, and that's how it was going between everyone. At that time, Mitchell had been inactive for a long time, and I was like, Mitchell, can I just take over your land? I mean, Dash is trying to get some material from your land. I don't want him to. I kind of want to get material from your land. Can I? I'll protect you, blah, 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 blah. He said yes, so I actually took over that entire continent. So by this point in time, I own both white and gray. The white dots you see in the ocean are kind of my... I had a lot of boats made, wooden boats, and that was like my area that I'd constantly search for clay in. The biggest area was right next to the block of Vinyl, which he didn't really like that much because, you know, he's trying to trade me clay for money, as I was saying earlier. But so I didn't actually own that water, but that's where I got a lot of my clay from. Believe it or not, the top right ocean, I barely got any clay from. Really, all I do there is mine deep underground, and that's it. But so I was trying to be a big power in the middle of the world. At the same time, Coolguy, the purple, was developing in a peaceful island, which was an idea we all loved, but to this date has never really been accomplished. I even tried it in 6.0. I think at some point in time everyone's tried it, but it's never worked. And he was trying to do that, but people like Dash would go and grief it because he'd get mad at Vinyl, or someone else would go and grief it. It was mainly Dash and Vinyl that go and grief it, as I remember. And that's because Coolguy's right in the middle of Dash and Vinyl, and what else is right in the middle? That island. And the island was not officially claimed by Coolguy, but as world power, I put it under all of our control and made sure that it was like a no-fight zone. But the people would be like, well, if it's partially mine, then this is mine, and even though they didn't help. So it got really weird, and the rules were iffy, which I didn't quite like, but it happened. Later in the game, as I was saying, it was Kaiser and Vinyl and Dash and Oregon. There was actually one time where Dash and Vinyl were like heading to each other to fight, and Coolguy had to break them up, separate them, and then Kaiser and Oregon were about to fight. Dash and Vinyl, I mean, were about to fight. Coolguy broke up Dash and Vinyl while I broke up Oregon and Kaiser. So I had to sail all the way down there, kind of stand between them like, no, stop, because if that happens, that's already 4 out of pretty much 6 nations. Mitchell didn't even really count at this time. So 4 to 6 nations would have been at a war, and it was a 2v2. If it did break out, if me and Coolguy failed at breaking both sides up, it would have been a world war, because me and Coolguy would have been caught in the middle of 4 people fighting, and we would have probably swung and tried to get out of there and do something. So it was probably the closest we were to a world war until 6.0, which 6.0, I don't even want to count it a world war. It is, but I don't want to count it as nations, because it didn't last more than a week, so that's that. But that was like the Cold War, like DEFCON 4, 5, whatever that's called. That's what it was for all of us, which was really insane. I'd never expected that. After that whole situation, Kaiser was like, I'm done managing my military. This is dumb, because he wasn't mad at me. He's just mad at Oregon. He's mad at Dash. And at that time, him and Vinyl didn't argue. but they were just having some differences because Kaiser was sending a lot more food to Vinyl, and Vinyl was starting to take some food, and Vinyl wanted some more rights and stuff. So he sold all of his land to me. So by this point in time, I owned all gray, white, and green, which was pretty impressive. I don't think I would have gotten that much land until Nations 5 when I was a land whore. Not including that I own the entire top right ocean now, because no other nation had business there. I had actually closed off the little waterways to get there, and by that point in time, just between the island, the peaceful island, in between the green, gray, and white, I kind of had that all like swerved off. But like if someone was getting there, I'd be like, "Hey, what you doing?" I'd be like, "Oh, I'm just mining." I'm like, "Oh, can you go somewhere else?" They'd say yes. So I was kind of doing that also because the entire world was iffy. By that point in time, as I said earlier, Kaiser was the world's biggest farmer. He moved his entire farm to my land, harvested everything, moved everything he had produced and hadn't sold, hadn't traded, moved all of it, all the way over to me. He's calling me right now. I'm sorry, buddy. I can't right now, but sorry about that. And he moved all that back up north, and somehow he did it, and it was cool. He lived in a house, and that kind of wrapped up Nations 1.0 now. One thing that we also invented in this Nations world is like systems, like not quite nuclear and chemical warfare, but we came up with code names like that, and it was mainly the Industrial Revolution and stuff like that, but it wasn't exactly nuclear and chemical warfare, mainly because Money found a bunch of mob spawners and produced them into mob grinders, so we got a lot of XP and material from them. So he's like, "Hey, we just hit the Industrial Revolution," and I thought that was funny, so we started doing that for everything. Like the beginning would be Stone Age, and we went like through times, and Modern Era would be like throwing enchantment bottles at each other. Technically chemical warfare, but I mean maybe all enchanted armor versus all enchanted armor, or whatever we had going on. So we came up with cool code names, and all this stuff that originated in Nations 1 would carry on to all the nations in the future, and this is honestly my favorite Nations world. And just because I miss Vinyl, haven't talked to him for a long time. It's been over a year, man. I really miss him. I know Kaiser misses him. I know almost everyone misses him that played this world, even though he could get annoying, but we miss his annoyance stuff. And just like Kaiser, he's annoying, but I like Kaiser, so Dash can be annoying, I can be annoying, we're all annoying. That's why we like each other as friends. I'm not gonna get gay here now, but so guys, I hope you enjoyed this video of Nations 1. It really means a lot to me, this world, because it started the entire Nation series. It's also a big reason why I love building military stuff in my cities, just because I'd be like, "Hey guys, I built a battleship for Nations," or just joke about it. I'd be like, "What do you have?" But that's just me, I guess. It's kind of nerdy. I just like this stuff. If you guys did enjoy, please hit that like button. Let me know if you want to hear more about Nations 1. I kind of went over the whole thing. I really wish I could get the world back. If someone knows how to fix hardcore right protection, I could. Kaiser's still calling me, so I'm going to have to end it here, guys. But until next time, I don't know, that's not my outro. Just do something till next time. It's really not much to do, huh?